not gonna lie to you guys, it was boring. And I tell y'all, I was falling asleep. Like, hey guys, it's Noreen. Thank you for making it to my channel, All Things Noreen, where I talk about lifestyle, fitness, and nursing, but it's mostly nursing because it's just an easier thing for me to get on here and talk about. And if you're new here, I am a psychiatric nurse practitioner student attending Walden University. I've been a nurse for 9 years. I started the program August of 2022. If I did everything correctly, I would have been graduating this semester, but I took off a semester because I was struggling that semester, so I wanted to get some things together. And then I fell behind the semester of my practicum of 6635 because I didn't know I was supposed to have a preceptor, a secure preceptor in advance. But anyways, we are here now. So I recently finished 6635 in the summer, my summer semester. So I did that from May to August. And then now from August to November, we are doing 6645, which is psychotherapy. Walden's program requires you to do 160 hours, see 80 patients, 5 of those being kids, 5 of those being teenagers, 5 of those being adults, and 5 being geriatric. So today I want to talk about my first week of preceptorship of 6645 psychotherapy. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was boring. And I tell y'all, I was falling asleep. Like, because this is like real therapy. Like, you're just listening to people talk about their problems, whatever. Not saying I don't care, I'm here for it, I'm all for it, but it's just different, okay? I am a PACU nurse, I pick up in the ICU. I'm used to getting up, moving around. And I had the same issue in my 6635 semester where just kind of sitting there, I was falling asleep. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure this out because I just be sleepy. Like, anyways, so where I'm at is very interesting. Like, there's counselors, therapists, but I'm with the counselor. And but she does supervise the therapist and the other counselors, so I do get to see some of their other sessions, which is pretty cool because you see different styles of therapy. But and this is different though, because as a psychiatric nurse practitioner, we're basically seeing our patient, talking to our patients. It's also very brief. Like, you might be with a patient 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes max, unless they want to talk a lot, and you with them for an hour. And then the other thing is too, is that as a psychiatric nurse practitioner, you can provide psychotherapy, which I believe is why they have us taking this class. Basically where you're just kind of sitting there talking to your patient and hearing them out, feeling them out, and just kind of helping them through their situations, trying different therapy options. But most of the psychiatric nurse practitioner, you're just really kind of talking to your patient really briefly, seeing if their medication's working, checking how their sleep is, and everything like that. So it's different. And then, so my previous clinical, I was with my preceptor, we was seeing at least 10 or 14 patients a day. But mind you, because it was quick, right? And that's what my preceptor chose to do. We don't have to see that many in a day. Versus, with this is therapy. These people are getting an hour session, 50 to 60 minutes. So they're there for a long time. It's kind of, you know, you're literally sitting there listening to their problems. Like, it's just very interesting. And so, yeah, I was falling asleep. I mean, I could have been tired too from the night before. I'm barely sleeping the night before. But I would say the second day was better than the first day. The first day, I was like, oh, this is crazy. I'm falling asleep. So, and then, so what I would say too is that, like, what I saw was there's a lot of kids and a lot of adults. Like, you have a lot of kids, like, are adopted, have some PTSD, some type of trauma that they're going through. So a lot of them are doing, like, play therapy. So you're kind of asking them about why they felt like this, or why they did this, why they did that in school, or did this new grade change affect you, or anything like that, why you guys are playing. So that's how you do play therapy. And we see a lot of kids. So I see a lot of that. A lot of them, again, are like adopted or things like that. Or like, I even seen like 2 siblings where the siblings, they don't get along. They don't really play together. And you can see that. Like, I saw like the little girl was trying to follow the bigger sister and she did not want to play with her. So like the bigger sister was just kind of running off doing her own thing. And so, but with that situation, mom did say the things were better at home. So I guess the play therapy is kind of helping that out. And then you also get some parents. And so what I also noticed is that you have the parent who sees one therapist and the child who sees another therapist. Because you have a child with ADHD, the parent doesn't know what to do. They're trying to figure out how do they go through with this. So like, you see a lot of stuff like that. And so the interesting about this, though, I will say, is that So from the psychiatric standpoint, we're giving them medication for their conditions, right? But medication is only one part. You also have to kind of do therapy with it for it to work all together, right? And so it's interesting when you see these people with like ADHD or mood disorder talking about their situation, and you're like, oh, I know this person has a mood disorder, and that, oh, well, they can be on this medication or whatever. And so like, it's just really interesting, like connecting the pieces, like everything comes like full circle. Like, so I really want to get, this is a main message I wanted to get out to those out there, is that for those who feel lost or like wondering if it's gonna make sense or am I gonna be able to do this right, is that it will come full circle. Like, it will literally come full circle. Like, it's just crazy being in there, and I just hear these people talk. I don't even know the diagnosis yet. Like, well, sometimes I know, but based on what they're saying and their experiences, I can kind of tell, okay, this person has this, right? And then it's like, well, what medication would you give them? So then it's like, you know, you kind of, like I said, like you start putting the pieces together. And I think that's like the really cool part about that, is that it, like, everything starts to come together. And this is only the second clinical, so I assume it'll get better the more and more we do it. So yeah, okay, my first day of clinical 2, it was interesting because like I dressed up, had like a nice little outfit, very business professional, because my last clinical, I used to wear scrubs. Like I was wearing scrubs, I want to be comfortable. But this semester, I know that there's a lot of kids that we see, so I was like, I don't want to give them no white coat syndrome and scrubs. So then I was like, let me dress all business casual. And I get there and I see there's other students there, so it's not me. I'm the only Psych NP student there, but they have like social worker students, counselor students, therapist students, like a bunch of people. And I see one of them on the floor. This is my first day. I see one of them on the floor playing with the kids, and I was like, oh, am I supposed to be on the floor with these kids? I know I got on these dress pants, my little church shoes, the little stock shoes that hurt your feet, trying to be all cute. I said, I gotta be on the floor with these kids. So I was like, okay. So my second day that I went, I got comfortable. I put on some jeans with some sneakers, some dunks. Okay, I got comfortable because I was like, I'm gonna be playing with these kids, then let me be comfortable. And so then that's the thing too, is that you are gonna be playing with the kids. Obviously, that's why we're there. We have to interact with them. So like, you will be playing with kids and things like that. And then, so I would say like in my session, like I would be in there on my laptop typing the notes or whatever. And then my counselor will be like, oh, well, Noreen, what do you think about this? And I was just like, you just have to kind of put your own input in. Like, there was one kid, he had like adjustment disorder, but he was saying how he has difficulty sleeping and things like that. And they asked what my suggestion would be, and I'd be like, if you're on your phone before you fall asleep, you definitely have to put your phone down a couple hours before you go to bed, because that screen just keeps your brain going. Like, it doesn't help you sleep. And just obviously practice better sleep hygiene. You know, try some melatonin, some magnesium, some sound, whatever, the white noise sound to help you sleep. So there are times where you kind of actually have to interact, where I didn't really have to interact like that in my first set of clinicals. So I mean, so that's a little bit different, but I would definitely say that that's just something to be mindful of, that you will have to do some interaction, probably more than likely, in therapy, because it's therapy, you're giving your opinion. And then the other thing too is like, so the therapists there, the counselors there, they're so excited that you're there, like, because there's no, well, at least where I'm at, like, there's like no Psych NP, so they'd be curious about some of the medications, just knowledge wise and things like that. Because, you know, they can refer like them to go to a Psych NP for medications. Like, if you have ADHD and therapy is helping, but you feel like you need a little bit more, you feel like your child needs a little bit more, they can like kind of tell them to go to a psychiatric nurse practitioner or whatever, or psychiatrist, to get the medication thing going. And so like, they're like very like interested, like, oh, so what medications would you recommend for a patient like this, da da da. So I'm like, you're asking me, I'm just a student. But like, I did educate them on like ADHD medication, stimulants and non-stimulants and things like that. So yeah, like I mean, it's getting better. I'm getting more comfortable and like actually staying awake now. I feel bad because I'd be falling asleep, but I would just say that first day was really bad. After that, I think I got the hang of it. And so the other thing too I want to talk about is for your paperwork, for your clinical, your 664-5 clinical. So the assignment that we had to do, you have to log your stuff in Meditrek. Hopefully you do everything right so you get all your points. You have to do your little calendar thing where you're basically saying the days that you're going to clinical. And I said this in another video, but what I did was I went on Canva. I got the calendar from Canva, and like you turn it into a template where you could put your dates in. So I basically put my dates in on the days that I plan on going to clinical. So I put like 9 to 5, 9 to 6 or whatever. And then I know some people are asking, do we have to get approval for more than 8 hours? I didn't have to do that my first semester, so I'm not planning on doing that this semester. I know some people are asking about logging in lunch, like do we put 8 to 12:30 or then 1 to whatever? I didn't do any of that my first semester. I did 9 to 7, 9 to 6 straight like that, nothing extra. And then they also asked like, oh, do we need to get approval if our preceptor wants us to change a date? I didn't do any of that my first semester, so I'm not doing that this semester. And I honestly don't think these professors are looking at the calendar every day we're logging in on Meditrek. Like that would just be crazy because most of them have other jobs anyways. So that's just one thing I'll recommend. I'm trying to think what other assignment. I think that was the only assignments that we had to do. So far 6645 doesn't seem too bad. We just had one discussion. But I'm just very interested to like learn about this therapy stuff, and then I'm just curious to know what's going to be on our midterm. Like, is it going to be the type of therapies or like what, like how is this going to go? I really want to know. So I mean, I don't know, I guess we'll see. But that was my first week of clinical. It was good. The only thing I will say that, so for me, I'm used to, with my last clinical, like I said, we would see 10 to 14 patients a day. So I was knocking my patient numbers out quick. And with this, it's a little bit slower. Like it might be 8 patients a day. And then it's like, if they even want you to enter, because if they want you to come and watch, because like so some people, it's like, oh, a student, I don't care, they can come in. Some people are like, the student, I don't know. But it's like, we're not really there for you. We're really watching the therapist and the counselor do their thing. But like there was a couple, so they were there for a couples therapy and they didn't want a student. So like I missed out on that session. And so like, so there's things like that where some people aren't really comfortable with seeing a student, having a student in there. So that kind of cuts my patient load down, which I'm a little concerned about, because like I kind of wanted to do this in 8 weeks, which means I would have to see at least 10 patients a week, and I'm not even, it ain't looking like that right now. So for me to finish this in 8 weeks, I would have to see 10 patients a week and do 20 hours a week. So I think what I'm gonna have to do, and typically what I do is I work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and so I've been doing my clinical days Tuesdays and Thursdays. Where I'm at, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are the most busiest. And I don't want to lose a day of work. I mean, I could work on the weekend and then pick up a day during the week. Well, I think I'm gonna have to do an extra day. But then the other thing too about my location is that they actually have some weekends where they see patients. So I think I'm gonna try to do some weekend, sit-ins. But then it's like, it's still risky too, because it's like these people can say no, they don't want a student in there. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. The other thing too is that there's other therapists and counselor students there. So I am competing, versus when I had my preceptor, it was just me. It was like, you know, I wasn't really competing. I was just on my preceptor schedule. But for here, my preceptor kind of has like other students. But it's okay, because, and then like she watches the other people's too. So it's just, I don't know. It's just, I have to do a lot of maneuvering and figuring things out with this clinical. And I really didn't have to with my last clinical. But I'm okay with going to see like 4 patients on a weekend, because I can do that. I could sacrifice 4 hours. I'd rather do clinical on a weekend versus actually going to work on a weekend. So that's something I want to do. And then, yeah, so last semester I had to start a week late because of Memorial Day. And so then towards the end, I had to like cram, like do 3 days of clinical. I'm not trying to do that this semester. So I'm really trying to hit the ground running and like get my hours, get my patients in. So towards the end, like I said, I really want to do it in 8 weeks, but it's not even looking like that right now. But 8, 9 weeks, I mean, if I have to do the 10 or whatever, but I don't want to have to rush toward the end to like, you know, like trying to meet my hours and all that stuff. But I will say that since it's a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers, like meeting my kids quota is not bad, versus when I was with my preceptor, it's like MP, it was kind of hard meeting those kid quotas. So she didn't really see that many kids. She saw a lot of adults. So I would say that is a plus about this. And then if you guys are wondering, I did find my preceptor through the Walden Data Affiliation Database. It was free. So if you have time to do that, I would recommend being proactive in finding your preceptor that way. My first semester, I did have to find a nurse through MP Hub, which was $3,000. I do not want to do that again. But going forward, I probably am gonna pay for a preceptor, but not $3,000, maybe like $2,000 I'm willing to pay, because I want to be mostly telehealth. I want to be mostly remote. I don't want to like be driving nowhere and be in no traffic, which is another reason why I like my location now, because I'm not really in traffic like that versus my other preceptor. My other clinical, I was going there was running into traffic, coming back I was running into traffic. I didn't like that. This one, I'm not with any traffic. So far so good. So I don't mind commuting to this location at all. But yeah, so that was my first week of preceptorship, of clinical, practicum, whatever you want to call it. If you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I will keep you guys updated on my journey. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and share with somebody who can use this information. Thank you guys for watching.